Many songs have been sung, and many tales told. The names of heroes like Gandalf the Grey, Aragorn the King, and Frodo the Ring-Bearer are greatly revered, and rightly so. Yet Sauron's grasp stretched much further than the lands of Gondor and Rohan alone, and his forces might have done great evil in the north of Middle-earth, had a handful of heroes not stood in his path. Their stories, too, deserve to be told. Pay heed now to one such tale, which begins here in the town of Bree, just a few short days before Frodo arrived on his quest.
Aragorn.
Eredon, well met. And in company with Andriel of Rivendell and Farin of Erebor. An unlikely trio to find walking through the doors of the Prancing Pony. You were at Sarn Ford last I knew. Do you bear news from Halbarad?
Yes. Grim news.
I feared it would be so. Quickly, tell me what has happened, but keep your voices low. There are unfriendly ears, even here in Bree.
3 days passed. The guard at Sarn Ford was attacked by 9 Black Riders. We were overwhelmed, and the enemy passed into the Shire.
This is worse than I imagined. I know these riders. It is from Mordor they come. Our folk had not looked to stand against the 9 together. How bad were our losses?
Very bad. We tried to resist them, but they were surrounded by an aura of unnatural dread.
There is more you should know. After the rout, one of the Black Riders met with an ally, a man of great malice and power.
As our master commanded, I have stirred up the orcs of the mountains. Even now I have a force gathering amid the ruins of old Fornost.
Return at once and prepare your forces. We will have need of them soon.
My orcs will be ready. These lands have known peace for too long. They will soon feel the Dark Lord's wrath.
If this Agandaur has a force at Fornost, then our position grows all the more desperate.
But why all this force against the peaceful halflings? It can't be the enemy sees them as a threat.
I will say this much. There is a hobbit of the Shire who should be coming this way with a great burden. If it falls into the hands of the enemy, it will mean doom for us all. Now this hobbit is adrift on the road with enemies all around. I must find him before they do. And I need you to help me keep him safe.
You are my chieftain. I will gladly do whatever you command.
I'm a part of this now as well.
Then we 3 are of one mind. How can we aid you?
We must reduce the threat from the enemies gathered at Fornost. Travel there and do whatever you can to keep the enemy's eye turned towards you and away from the Shire.
Perhaps we will have help in this task. Eladan and Elrohir were in the north when last I heard. Any gathering of the enemy is certain to attract their attention.
Good. You could find no better allies than the sons of Elrond half-elven.
I hope we meet. But with or without help, the enemy will be kept busy. We'll make sure of that.
I have a few questions, if I may, Aragorn.
Shh. Here in Bree, there is no Aragorn. Only Strider the Ranger.
As you wish. But what will you do now?
I will continue the search for the hobbit I spoke of. I've already scoured the road between here and the Shire, but found no trace of him. I fear he may have left the road, perhaps to escape pursuit. My hope now is that he will make his way here to Bree, the only safe haven for many miles. But if he does not appear soon, I will take to the road again in search of him. Should the enemy at Fornost join in the hunt, well, you understand just how grim our chances will become. I need you to prevent that. Go to Fornost. Take the fight to them.
Why do you hide behind this false name? Strider is no fitting name for one of your proud lineage.
The Dark Lord in Mordor would not be pleased to know that Isildur's heir still lives. The time is not right for Aragorn, son of Arathorn, to stand revealed to the world. For now, I am simply Strider.
What of this man, Agandar, who met with the Black Riders? What do you make of him?
Some servant of the Dark Lord, and by his name one to be feared. His presence in the north bodes ill for us all, but I'm glad you discovered it. At least now we are forewarned.
His name, is it not Adunaic?
Your suspicions are correct, Loremaster. That name is from a language few now speak, the native tongue of the men of lost Numenor.
Numenor? Then Agandar is one of the Dunedain?
No, not a Dunedain, but in ages past we had common ancestors. While the forebearers of the Dunedain rejected the lies of the Dark Lord, not all of the men of Numenor did so. Many were enticed by his promises of power. Their descendants serve him still. Many are great warriors and sorcerers, but they are consumed by darkness. You know them as the Black Numenorians. Their hatred for the Dunedain is very great, and no less so for the elves. This Agandar may prove a foe as deadly as the Black Riders.
Those creatures that attacked us at Sarn Ford, those Black Riders, I have never seen anything like them before. What are they?
Do you not know them? There are whispered tales and legends enough that tell of them. They are the Nine, the Ring Wraiths. Of all the servants of the enemy, they are the most feared.
This Agandar, he was no wraith. He seemed like a man, one filled with malice and dark power, but a man nonetheless. But what kind of man would serve the Dark Lord?
Not all the Dark Lord's servants are wraiths and orcs. There have been and still are many men, warriors and kings that walk alive under the sun, and yet are under his sway, willing or unwilling.
What can you tell me of Fornost?
Fornost was once a great city, the capital of the Dunedain kingdom of Arnor. It fell to the Witch King long ago. The men of Gondor and the elves formed an alliance that drove the Witch King out, but Fornost was never rebuilt. The ruins remain a place of dread for many. The men of Bree call it Dead Man's Dyke and fear to go near. It is a perfect place for our enemies to gather in secret.
What of this man, Agandar?
Some servant of the Dark Lord, and by his name one to be feared. His presence in the north bodes ill for us all, but I'm glad you discovered it. At least now we are forewarned.
We will travel to Fornost and see what can be done to upset Agandar's plans. Farewell.
Something tells me you're not in the market for a rake or shovel.
This is Fornost, yet I see no sign of the enemy.
These ruins could hide a large army. We might even now be under the gaze of unfriendly eyes.
Well, we came to provide a distraction for Aragorn, and what better way to do that than walking in the front door? Let's be about it.
creatures! Power.
Just like a dwarf to spend so much time on the ground.
That was too close for comfort. You have my thanks.
I need healing.
Is down! Help him!
Thank you, my friend. I'm in your debt.
They're still coming!
This will prove useful. I have a good use for this. Just what I needed.
Everyone unhurt.
These ruins are not sound.
We must find a way out of these pits.
Anon Adronion.
I will take this. These goblins are small, but deadly all the same.
Oh, you're caught between the hammer and anvil now!
This has the power to heal.
Feel the wrath of the Eldar!
dwarf. There are still foes to defeat.
Sorry to push you to all that fuss, my friend. Really done for.
Just like a dwarf to spend so much time on the ground.
That was too close for comfort. You have my thanks.
This bloom is beautiful and useful.
Creature could be making those cries.
Oh, you're up
I thank you, friends. Without your timely arrival, my death would have been slow, but certain.
We are pleased to be of service. No one should be left to suffer at the hands of the goblins. May we know your name?
I am called Belaram. My home is in the Misty Mountains, and I serve Gwaihir, Lord of Eagles. Who is it I have to thank for my rescue?
I am Andriel, and I belong to the household of Elrond Halfelven, the Lord of Imladris. My companions are Farin and Eridan.
Then I am indebted to you, Andriel of Imladris, and to your friends.
What brought you here to Fornost?
I often range far across the lands of the north, gathering news for Gwaihir, my lord. When I saw activity here in long-abandoned Fornost, I grew curious and flew lower to investigate.
What did you see?
Goblins and other foul folk are working within the ruins. They appear to be preparing for war, building siege engines and stockpiling arms.
Were you able to determine who it is that leads this force?
I saw a tall man, heavily armored. The goblins obeyed his commands. Who he is I cannot say, but he had an aura of menace, like one tainted by the shadow.
That must be Agandar.
You know this man?
He is a servant of the Dark Lord. We must find him, and destroy him if we are able.
I will assist you, but it will be perilous. The enemy has positioned war machines upon the inner wall. They limit my ability to fly freely.
If we could reach the top of the wall, we might be able to destroy the machines.
Beyond those doors, you will find a passage and stairs leading up to the wall.
The machines are certain to be heavily guarded. We could be walking into a trap.
I will take to the air and draw their fire. If we are fortunate, that will allow you to gain the top of the wall unobserved.
Very well. Let us begin.